rusting key. It's a collective narrative, the collective history of the Nakba, if you will. Or in another case, of the Holocaust, or of Iwo Jima, of the Alamo, of how the Scots came and invaded Ireland, or whatever. Just to give you a sense, the biggest ever social psychological experiment carried out in human history was carried out by a PhD student called Tito, who tried to mesh, to integrate at least two different nations in Yugoslavia. They lived together, they worked together, they studied together, they brought children into the world together. They also married before us. For 40 years. And then, without really trying very hard, Milosevic, the genius, came down to Pristina, I think it was 1989, and on a very particular day, I'll mention the day in a minute, gave a speech, nothing to commemorate 600 years to the Turkish conquest. That was sort of the Memorial Day. And he spoke of the bravery of the Serbs, and how they resisted, and how they sustained the conquest, and how they will revive their honor and pride a week later, hostilities started. He just threw a little match into a waiting barn of hay. He didn't need much, but these were memories of only 600 years. In Northern Ireland, memories of only 300. Nothing. What do we complain here? It's only 150 years. Children, that. Memories do not disappear. And if they are not dealt with, they continue to simmer underneath the surface. Holocaust, Iwo Jima, refugees from the Holocaust. All these are memories, local memories, but I could bring, Iwo Jima is not local, but I could bring such memorials. Usually people will have their statues, their memorial places, to commemorate the history, not to forget it. If anybody has been here to South Africa, to Australia, the memorials to the Anzac forces of World War II. Still, people visit these places with deference, with great respect and honor. These memories linger on. Although it's not the same generation anymore, we are 2 or 3 generations later, and it's still there. I went to one of these memorials, and you could see people standing their heads in their hands with great excitement, as if they commemorate memories of yesterday. And it's not yesterday. So history plays an important role, and peace education has great difficulty overcoming that. Another challenge are the beliefs. Now let me say you this. The beliefs I'm going to describe, mainly studied by a colleague of mine, Dani Bartal, in Tel Aviv University, who did a very thorough job about that. These beliefs are symmetrical. In an intractable conflict, both sides hold the same beliefs. Of course, mirror images of each other. The first one is, we are right and our goals are just. God is on our side, even if we don't believe in God. The second one, they pursue illegitimate goals. So what the Tamil Tigers want is illegitimate in the eyes of the Sri Lankans, and vice versa. Even when we do harm, they are the ones to blame. The same Golda Meir once said. Very nice. I can't forgive the Palestinians for killing our children. I cannot forgive them for forcing us to kill their children. Whatever we do is bad, blame them, because they forced us to do it. And again, let me say it again. These are beliefs that apply to both sides, symmetrically. Here comes the best one. We are the victims. Let me tell you, it's wonderful to be a victim. It's a privilege. Because the victims are allowed to do everything. And there are no moral barriers to what victims are allowed to do. And since we had 9/11, we can invade Iraq, we can invade Afghanistan, we can do whatever we want because we are the victims. And it implies, again, both sides believe they are victims because of what I mentioned before, the sense of being threatened. If they would only listen to us, they would see how right we are. But they are deaf. They don't want to listen to us. Because God is on our side and they could easily see how right we are. If they would only listen. But they don't. And of course, they only understand the language of force. And therefore, we use some force. They use a little bit more. We use even more. They use more force. And on it goes. So these are the beliefs that have to be overcome by peace education. Then we have grade inequalities. That has a lot to do with also the sense of identity. Grade inequalities, all intractable conflicts contain inequalities. Strong and weak, conqueror and conquered, better equipped, poorer equipped, high and low socioeconomic status, and the like. Wherever you go, you'll find these inequalities. But let me give you an example of an inequality from research, where Israelis and Palestinians studying in high school, the IFRIS program, but the beginning, before they began the program, they were asked, 800 students by the number, they were asked, what does peace mean to you? These are high school students. For the Jews, peace means particularly non-violence. Stop these terrorist attacks, exploding buses and what have you. For the Palestinians, peace means equality and independence. So that's another inequality, not of high versus low, strong versus weak, but beginning peace education program from two entirely different standpoints. Another barrier is excessive emotionality. I will not go much into it, only to say that the negative emotions I've mentioned before are a tremendous barrier. And quickly give an example. Volunteer teachers, all of them the heart on the left side. Volunteer to communicate with Palestinian teachers over the internet, each side trying to write the collective narrative of the other side. And then exchanging it, and the other side will correct it. And it started out quite well. But then the Jenin incursion took place. And feelings were raw. Hatred, anger, frustration on both sides. And the whole thing failed. It became a royal failure. If they began a sentence from, let's say, the Jewish point of view, it immediately was followed by, yes, but, and immediately argued with it. And the other side the same. In other words, negative feelings can ruin the best of peace education programs.